Hello, everyone. This is James Nussbaumer, and I want to talk a little bit from A Course in Miracles. Once again, this raggedy old copy. And for you that know me, know where this came from and where I found it. And if you don't, it's in my book, The Master of Everything, which you can find at my website. But with The Course in Miracles, in chapter 27, section 2, called The Fear of Healing, this section really gets my mind going and sinking into my heart, if you know what I mean. It's quite lengthy and it's pretty deep, and I really like the text of A Course in Miracles. I take the lessons, I do the lessons, but I've been through the lessons over and over, and I know them like the back of my hand in the workbook for students, the lessons, but I just love the text. I read it over and over. What I do is I start from the beginning, from the very first beginning, where it's the 50 principles, and and on to chapter to the end of the text. And when I finish the end, I go back and I just start all over again, because it doesn't bring new meaning, I don't want to say, but it just takes me deeper into my thought, I guess is what I could say. My real thought. I don't even know, but it just takes me deeper into who I am. But okay, the fear of healing, chapter 27, the fear of healing. And I'm not going to read you this section. It's section 2, but this is kind of how I have written about it and have dissected it. But I found that when I am afraid of something, that I am acknowledging its power to hurt me. We all believe in what we value, and if I'm fearful, then I must be placing value in fear. And I know we've talked about this in another video that I've done, if you've seen that before. So if that rings a bell, then pay close attention. But if I am fearful, then I must be placing value in fear. Therefore, I must be valuing wrongly about what really is going on within me, about who I really am. Wouldn't you agree? Don't you think that that's the way it is, that you're just valuing yourself wrongly? This fearful habit of mind just destroys your pieces of, your pieces of, that we're all split apart. The pieces of your split apart mind, it just splits them apart even more, fragments them more, but it destroys the chances of having any peace, because when we're fragmented and we're thinking in all these different kinds of directions, aren't we just like distraught? I mean, how can we be at peace? But so what I really was meaning was that when we can recognize this and know that that's going on, we can more clearly understand the Bible, where it says, the peace of God passeth understanding. That statement means that peace cannot be valued wrongly, nor can it be shaken at all by errors of any kind. When we no longer feel vulnerable to attack, separated, or rejected, we can then lengthen the instance of pure thought and pure feelings that were at one and that we're healing and being all that we can be. Those instances, have you ever felt at times where you just feel like, my gosh, I'm just all I can be, and it feels great? And then it could be hours later where you sink back down, because what happens is during that time of when you are being all that you can be, it's a part of just no judgment, no thinking going on. And it's healing that's happening. It's healing the fragmented, split apart thought system that you have. That's what's happening. But then all of a sudden, then when we reinterpret it and we go and we start thinking and go on that, what we're doing is we're just moving back away from peace. But are we in fear? And are we really in fear when we're trying to have peace, but we can't have it. What I mean is, okay, even the murderer wants peace, but his own fears are so deeply rooted and his real self so shallow that he just cannot begin to see forgiveness in the world that, you know, he is a part of. But, you know, forgiveness, and we've talked about this in many of my videos, and if you've watched my recent videos, I've really been kind of on the subject of forgiveness, because forgiveness really means to overlook or let go and then look beyond the ego-based errors that we make to the realm of the will of God, where that exists, which is really your own true free will. And so much of us in this world are not living our own true free will, and that's why we're in misery, and that's why we're in conflict with each other, and that's why we try to help each other out, and that's why we try to say to maybe a loved one, you should do this and do this, and you know, try to tell them what to do, and they tell you what you should try to do, because really there's a part of us trying to help each other, but there's also that part of us that's like, you know, you should do this because this is the way it's been since time began or whatever. But the point is, if you're not truly doing what you really want to do in this world, I mean, truly, you know, but when you start to go on the route, whatever it is that you got to do what it is you truly want to do in this world, if you're on that path, mentally, mindfully is more of the body, but mindfully more of the spirit. When you're mindfully on that path, that yes, I'm on this path. Don't worry about that ambulance out there. They're not coming after us right here. It's I hope everybody's okay in that. It's a, you know, fire department rescue going by there. But you know, forgiveness really means to overlook or let go and then look beyond the errors to the realm where the will of God exists. In other words, our own true free will. So, you know, when you overlook someone else's errors by looking beyond their body that made the error, then you have forgiven them. And we've been through this before, but I wanted to reinforce that forgiveness is to look beyond the errors that someone makes. You know, this is also how you must forgive yourself. You can start forgiving yourself right now today as you're listening and watching me on this video by just acknowledging the belief that you truly value and want to live by without guilt and without fear. There's nothing to fear. In other words, begin right now to start overlooking, to start looking beyond your own guilt and fears that you feel inside of you. You don't have to explain it to anybody. You don't even have to talk to your spouse about it, unless you want to, of course. Keep it to yourself, which is okay. But if you can acknowledge to yourself your guilt that you feel inside, whatever that is, and your fears, and you start to live beyond that, and you overlook them, overlooking them, knowing that just errors of the ego, you have forgiven yourself. Now you can move on. The initial step is to reinterpret how your mind sees the world, which you have really made. You have made the world, yes, which and the world has made you follow a pattern because it's what it's laid out for you, and you just chose to follow that. Isn't that all about kind of history repeating itself? We follow the mistakes of others. But, you know, if you can overlook that, then you can turn around those habits of mind by living your own true free will, which requires forgiveness or looking beyond the world's workings and the you that you made because of the world trying to tell you how to be. Something like that. You know, you have to take that into counsel within yourself. But look beyond it all. My point is in this message is to look beyond all of that and be who you are. Be who you are. You'll find out that when you start doing that at first, the world might not seem to support you, but that's only in your own mind. But when you really start to go and be all that you are, the world will support you. So look beyond it all and find out what you see. Your vision, if you will. Without forgiveness of yourself, you will remain in the dark, guilty, and fearful, and will naturally see death as fearful. And you will live that way to the end of the time, to the end of your time, which means the end of all time, because you are this world. So why worry about what others think? But the light that is within you has a willingness to extend itself. And you know that. You know when you're doing something that's not right, that you really don't want to be doing, but you're doing it anyway. You know that there's something in you that needs to be doing something else, don't you? Yes, you do. Because I've experienced the same thing. This is the realm where there is no belief in death and no worry over it, because you're doing what you want to do. You know, you may be asking, well, how then can I escape darkness and enter the real world that I'm talking about? It's simple. It's all by letting go of all that chains you, not chains and binds you like chains, prison chains, all that chains you, and using your real vision to look into your mind through that window that I've talked about in previous videos, and to look out of the window of your mind and keep the window shade up, because we're always going to have a window to our mind. I don't mean our brain. I'm talking our mind that is beyond the body. There's always going to be that window while we're in this world, because we're humans. There's always going to be some kind of blockage, but keep it clear glass rather than a shade pulled down. Leave it open. Let the light, which is really you anyways, a part of you, which is God, the light. Let the light in. Leave the window shade of your mind open. Understand there's a window there because you're human and in this world for now. Well, without going on anymore, what is real vision, you might ask? Well, my goal in my book, The Master of Everything, and my sequel, the sequel to that book, Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, my goal is to help you find out. But I've written that book also, those books, and another one to come out too, based on the principles of A Course in Miracles. And if you don't know my story, how I ran into this raggedy old book, give it a try and look at some of my other videos, and you'll find out if this video interests you. If it doesn't, and you're not ready for it yet, then that's okay. You're not ready for it, because one thing about A Course in Miracles, you know, the ones of us that believe in this kind of a thought system is because that's who we are. And it's nothing that can be flaunted or pushed on anyone. It's very much esoteric. We are who we are. We all are. And basically, when you think about it, when you lay back tonight and you go down to get ready to put your head to go to sleep, think about how we are all connected deep down within. That's what it's all about. I hope this makes sense. Thank you very much for listening to me and putting up with me for another segment of one of my videos. But I'm just, I chuckle because I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled about how I feel now. It's just a matter of being who you are. I hope you can appreciate me for my honesty. Thank you. God bless.